Hello students, welcome to class. Today we shall be examining some questions of economics, past questions NECO. These are likely questions that may come out in your forthcoming exams. Please get your writing pen and material so that you can follow me and take down some vital points. I'll be right back. The first question we're looking at today is, if government in a fiscal year has its revenue receipts less than the expenditure, such country is having, look at it, fiscal year, the annual year expenses. Revenue receipts is income, then the expenditure. So, which means the revenue is less than expenditure. What should be our correct answer from these options? A, balanced budget. B, deficit budget. 3, favorable budget. 4, surplus budget. 5, unfavorable budget. From my simple analogy here, in a balanced budget is where revenue equals what? Expenditure. In a deficit budget is where revenue is less than what? Expenditure. In other words, you spend more than what you receive. In a surplus budget is where revenue is greater than what? Expenditure. So the correct answer for this question is B, deficit budget. Why? Because the receipt revenue was less than what? The expenditure. So I go for what? B, receipt. Number 2. The act of cultivating land and rearing of animal for man's use is, when we say monoculture, that is producing one particular product. We say forestry. We talk about preservation, forestry. We talk about aqua science, that is the study of water and its content. Then horticulture, grain of flowers and what have you. If you look at it, they're all within the circle of agriculture. So agriculture seems to be more elaborate than each one of these options. So the correct answer is agriculture, letter A. Number 3, an economic system in which individuals control the productive resources is known as A, capitalism. B, communism. C, freedomism. D, socialism. E, welfarism. Welfarism is linked to communism as well as what? Socialism. Now, socialism developed what? A communism after being practiced for a long time, based on the theory of Karl Marx mode of production. Okay? So socialism is when government is in control, while capitalism is where private individuals, bourgeoisies, are in control. So the most correct answer is A, capitalism. Individuals control capitalism. I hope you are following me, students, and I hope you are making some points. And please, to enjoy more of this, subscribe to this channel. Number 4, the contribution of petroleum to the economy of Nigeria is most prominent in the area of A, employment generation. B, fuel provision. C, infrastructural development. D, revenue generation. E, technical know-how. If you look at all these options, they are all benefits that we get from petroleum, because petroleum is the mainstay of Nigeria economy. The mainstay of Nigeria economy. But here, the question is talking about the most prominent among all these options. You agree with me that the most prominent among the options is letter D, which is revenue generation. When we generate, because The total money we are getting in Nigeria today, our national income, more than 70% is from where? From petroleum. So when we have revenue, then we can have, what they call it, development. We can create employment and the rest of them. So the most correct answer here is revenue generation. The Nigerian Indigenization Decree process, that was in the 1970s, involves 3 phases. It was 3 phases because it started in 1970, and government was moving that from phase to phase. We are still on. I know you know what about indigenization. When foreign companies in Nigeria are being demanded to involve Nigerians in the managerial and running of such businesses. Number 6, transactional motive implies owing money. You know that in economics, we have 3 major motives for owing money. We have a transactional motive as one of them. We have the one for business, which is futuristic. And we also have the one for, what they call it, emergency, precautionary motive. So A, for future investment. B, for day-to-day expenses. C, for unforeseen contingency. D, to settle previous debt. E, to buy share in the stock exchange market. From the word transaction, transaction is talking about day-to-day running of expenses. So the correct answer is B. Okay? The one for unforeseen circumstances for emergency, which is not here. Okay? Number 7, one of the fundamental economic problems of every society is, we have 4 major economic problems facing every society, whether developed or underdeveloped, whether mixed, capitalist or socialist. We have what to produce, we have how to produce, we have for whom to produce, and of course, efficiency in allocation of resources. So any of these 4 problems should appear in our option. So let's see which of them come out in our option. A, allocation of scarce resources. B, availability of market. C, consumption pattern of inhabitants. D, presence of middlemen. E, inadequate labor force. You agree with me that among the 4 problems, the only one we can find here is A, allocation of scarce resources, and that becomes our answer. In the next question, which of these is not associated with the problem of internal trade? Look at the word not, which means all of them are involved in internal trade. Internal trade is opposite of international trade. In other words, the trade within the country. All right? So which of these now associated with A, bargaining. B, lack of specialization. C, market trade unions. D, natural barriers. And E, large number of middlemen. You agree with me that all these are available in internal trade, but the one that we can pick as not being associated with internal trade is natural barriers, because we have large middlemen, retailers, and wholesalers within the markets. We have trade unions that control each of the trade, okay? And lack of specialization in most of the case because they're just within, all right? More attention are not being paid. Then your power of bargain, which make you to buy product at different prices at different places. The same product, bought at different prices at different places, even in the same market, depending on your level of what power of bargain as a buyer. All right. In the next question, a market situation with few sellers and many buyers is called few sellers. You know, in economics, we have a word for few. The word for few is oligo. Oligo. The word for one is mono. So we could have monopoly or oligopoly, or monopsony or oligosony. All right? So from here, let's see which option is appropriate for this question. A, monopoly. B, duopoly. The word duo is 2. Mono is 1. C, oligo, which is few. D, perfect competition, and E, monopsony. Sony is buyer, while poly is seller. Okay, so here it's talking about, the emphasis says few sellers with many buyers. So the few sellers, the appropriate answer here is C, oligopoly. C, oligopoly. Assuming the questions state two sellers, then the answer would have been what? Duopoly. If the question states one seller, the answer would have been monopoly. But here, question says few seller, and few means oligo. So the best answer here is oligopoly, which is letter C. I hope you're enjoying the class. Please, to enjoy more, subscribe to this channel and you get better understanding of this subject. The next question is, in income determination theory, a selection principle shows that A, income is the cause, while investment is effect. Is the effect. I don't see this coming up again here. This is tautology. There's an error, maybe typographical error. Income is the cause, while investment is the effect. That's how it's supposed to stop. In B, income and investment are both causes. In C, income and investment are both effects. D, income is on effect of investment. There's also a typographical error here. Okay? Then E, investment is the causes, while income is the effect. Despite the typographical error in the question, the most accurate question here is A. When your income increases, of course, you expect that what? You increase your investment. All right? So, income is the cause, while the aftermath of that cause is what? Investment, which is the effect of your cause. So, most correct answer there is letter A. All right? So, we'll move on to the next question. The main disadvantages of deflationary policies is, note, deflation is opposite of inflation. So if inflation is general price increases, okay, so what do you expect deflation to be? That would be general falling in price. So when the price falls, what happens? You expectedly, you want consumers to buy more based on the law of demand and supply. That when prices fall, the demand will increase. But sometimes in this case, it may not be true. How? Because if the trend continues, the consumer will be conscious of buying because it's anticipating that the price will keep falling. So instead of buying more, he buy less, okay, hoping the price will keep falling, then he can be able to buy in a lower price in a future date. So what is the major policy of this deflation? Full employment in the economy, okay, increasing cost of living, improved standard of living, unemployment in the country, underemployment in the country. What will happen with this deflation is that since people are not willing to buy more to release their money, okay, then unemployment will arise because they won't be able to create more job opportunity for people, right? You can see that A and E, they are opposite. While one is full, the other is under. So there will be unemployment at this point, okay, when there is deflation. This, we are talking about disadvantage, not advantage, deflation. There will be unemployment in the country, all right? The bank established to finance projects aimed at promoting economic and social development within African continent is, okay, let me quickly run through the options before I make my comment. We have A, African Bank for Commerce and Industry. We have African Development Bank, that's ADB. We have a Economic Bank for Africa. We have Recovery Fund Bank for Africa. We have African Currency Board Bank. There's nothing like this at the moment. There's nothing like this at the moment. Okay, there's nothing like this at the moment. We have commerce and we have development. But you can see from the questions, it said the one that is for social development. And we are privileged that the current president of this bank, ADB, is a Nigerian. Though his tenure is expiring this year, I think he'll be stepping down after running for 2 terms, 5 years 2 terms, that's 10 years. I'm talking about a person of former Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria, additional, okay? He's stepping down as president of ADB. So the most correct answer is ADB, African Development Bank. Stepping down this year, his tenure is over after 10 years, 2 terms in office. 13, the comparison of the standard of living between Nigeria and Ghana is best done through the use of A, gross domestic product, B, gross national incomes, C, net depositable income, D, net national income, and E, per capita income. Irrespective of the fact that they mention Nigeria and Ghana, it could be any other 2 or more countries. But the basis for determining the standard of living for any country, any 2 or more countries, is the PCI. The PCI means the per capita income, which is generated by dividing the gross national product, that's the national income, with the population. So the higher the PCI, the better standard of living for that particular country. So the best answer here is per capita income, okay? So it is possible for a country with lesser income, but more or less population to have higher PCI than a country that has higher national income, but have more population to have less PCI. Now, for this, it's very simple. I don't know if you can try this on yourself at home. On your paper, you can just take them down and try it. What is the median term in the distribution below? Distribution is already given: 14, 13, 29, 15, 13, 17, 12. So what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to rearrange them. Remember, for you to determine median means the middle number. For you to determine your median, you either arrange in ascending order or descending order. So I choose to arrange in ascending order. So if you are with me or you have your pen there and your paper, you can help also arrange also at home as I do. Now, what's the lowest here? The lowest is 12, followed by 13. Then we have another 13. Then we have 14, followed by 15. And then we have 17. And the last number there is 29. Let me be sure that they are complete. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me check mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, I've rearranged the distribution in ascending order, which means from lowest to the highest. Like I said earlier, your median term means what? The middle number. So let's look at the middle value now. How do you determine? They are all 7, so it's very easy for you. You count 3 from the rear and count 3 from the front. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Of course, the middle value is 14. So it's obvious our answer is what? C. Option C, 14. We'll move on to the next question. The middle value of an array figure arranged in descending order is referred to as, I just mentioned that in the previous question. So whether you arrange it in descending or in ascending order, the middle value is known as what? The median, which is letter C, the median. Okay? Mode is the most occurrence, while mean is the average of a given distribution. If commodity A and B are jointly demanded, what would be the effect of an increase in the price of A on the demand for commodity B? Please follow me quickly. A and B are jointly demanded. Let me give you a practical an analogy so that you can be able to pick a correct answer. Let's look at car and fuel. In Nigeria, lately, the price of fuel has gone up. The price of fuel has gone up. So as an economy student, let me ask you, what do you think will happen to the demand for car? Of course, the demand for car will be less. Many people who takes their car to work will now what? Join public transport and use their car only during weekend. I am happy to be one of them. Okay? So, what could be our correct answer now? Let's look at option together. A, decrease in demand for commodity B. B, decrease in price of commodity B. C, demand for commodity B remain constant. D, increase in demand for commodity B. And E, increase in the price of commodity B. Remember, our answer should be for B. The question is, what happened to the demand for commodity B? Okay, they are not asking what happened to the price of commodity B. So which other option is talking about the price of commodity B is wrong. So the most correct answer here is letter A, which states that there would be decrease in the demand for commodity B. Why? Because the price, the joint, the complementary product that will make it to demand for it, the price has gone up. And since the price has gone up, you demand less for it, based on the law of demand and supply. I hope you're enjoying the class, and I also hope you are taking notes as I made some explanation, so as for you to do further study on that. Remember, we said earlier, these are likely questions that will come out in your coming NECO exams. Now, the next question now, which of the following factors will not account for an outward shift of production possibility curve? You know, PPC, production possibility, is talking about how you can combine the production of two products using the available resources. Maximizing the available resources to look at the possible productivity of two products. All right? So the question now is saying that all of these are correct, while only one is not. So let's look at the options and see which one that is not. A, budgeting and planning based on expectations. B, expansion in employment. C, discovering and exploration of new resources. D, introduction of improved production techniques. E, skill improvement through education and training. You agree with me that E, D, C, and B, they are all factors that will make us to have an upward shift, which means an increase in our production. But budgeting may not directly, may at the long run, it may affect the PPC, but not directly, immediately. There are so many other factors that will be contributed for this budgeting to affect PPC, not at the immediate run. Okay? So it's a secondary factor, not primary factor. But all other ones are primary factors that bring about the outward shift. For budgeting to affect PPC, other factors have to contribute to that, not at the immediate. All right? That's at the long run. The next question is the willingness of an individual back up with the purchasing power at a given time is. As an economic student, anytime you hear the word back up, we call it effective demand. Effective demand. And we need to differentiate between effective demand and demand itself. Your demand is just a willingness to get something. This willingness may not have the capacity or the ability to pay. But when we talk about effective demand, it means you are willing and you have the what? Capability, the capacity, the ability to pay for your will. Okay? So, when we now say willingness, back up with ability, what are we talking about? From explanation, the answer is obvious here. Okay? Which is letter C, effective demand. Demand is just ordinary desire. Want, you can want anything. They say if wishes were horses, many will rest on it. You want so many things, but do you have capacity to pay? No. Utility is talking about consumption. Okay? Your desire is also your want. So the most correct answer here is letter C, which is effective demand. In other words, you are willing to get something and you have the power, the purchasing power to pay for it as at the time you want it. All right? Let's see the next question. Which of the following is not a factor that brings about changes in demand? Which of the following is not a factor that brings about changes in demand? The implication of this question is that all of them are correct except one. Before you pick your answer, let me quickly make this explanation here. Okay? When we say change or changes in demand, it is different from changes in quantity demanded. Changes, remember we use a triangle as a representative of change. Changes in quantity demanded of any product is as a result of the price. And that's what we are doing elasticity. You look about a change in quantity demanded and change in price. It is price is the major or primary fundamental factor that bring about the change in quantity demanded. And when that happens, there will be what they call a movement along a demand curve. This movement could be upward or downward movement, signifying either the decrease or the increase in quantity demand as a result of the changes in demand, like this. So this PO is the original price, and this QO is the original quantity. When the price increases, what happens? The quantity demanded will fall to Q1. Why? Based on the law of demand. And when the price falls, naturally, based on the law of demand, quantity demanded will increase to Q2. Okay? Because of P2, lower price. So this is movement along a demand curve, which is as a result of changes in price affecting the quantity demanded. But that is not what this question is asking you. This question is asking you changes in demand. When we talk about changes in demand, we are not talking about price at this point. We are talking about other factors that's affecting demand. So in this case, the curve would be like this. Where the price is constant, PO, all right? And we have the QO here, the original quantity, all right? Then we still have another Q1 here, another Q2 here, and we have the curve. This is what we call shift in demand. So this could be backward shift or forward shift, all right? Not because of change in price, because price did not change, but because of other factors. And that is what this question is asking you. So, which means in this question, 4 out of these 5 factors, they are the one that brought about change. Only one did not bring about change. So let's look at them together. A change in real income, especially when you earn more, you spend more, you buy more. B, government policy. For instance, government introduced higher tax, which means larger percentage of your income has gone for tax. You have less income to dispense. Okay? Then C, increase in population. When we have more population, expectedly, there will be higher demand. All right? Because more people have joined in the demand for that product. D, the price of the good or service. And E, taste and fashion. Of course, your income, depending on your income, your taste varies from time to time. All right? So, from my explanation of change in quantity demanded and change in demand, you agree with me that the correct answer to this question is what? Letter D. Letter D is not correct in this case. Why? It is only correct if the question has said change in quantity demanded, because that is the only factor that brought about this, the price of the good or the price of the service. But change in demand is talking about other factors, which are these that brought about change in demand. I hope you understand that very well. You can also consult your textbooks or your notes and then to get better understanding of it. If you want to ask me more questions on this, please feel free to send question to the comments and continue to enjoy on this channel. Well, maybe I'm going to be rounding up at this point with this question. Okay? When an economy is having a balance of payment surplus, the best alternative open to it is you need to have understanding of balance of payment, BOP. Your BOP is your economic financial transaction, such a way that whether your export is greater than your imports, or your imports is greater than what? Your exports, or whatever. So in this case, if your export, what you are selling out, when you sell, export, when you sell, you earn money. And when you import, what happens? You pay. Okay? So when your export is more than your import, we call it what? Surplus balance of payment. Why? You are earning more than what you are paying out. Okay? Why? When alternately, when your import is greater than your export, we say you're having what? Deficit. Deficit balance of payment. Why? You are paying more than what you are earning. Okay? Now, in this case, the question is saying, yes, we have surplus payment, which is good. In other words, we are earning more. We are selling more, earning more than what we're importing. So when this happens, what are the alternate policy that you are supposed to make? A, borrow from abroad. B, devalue your currency. C, increase your foreign reserve. D, promote import into the country. E, sell out your foreign asset. You sell out foreign asset when there's a need for money. But now you have more. So why doing that? You devalue your currency when you attempt to increase your export, to make your product to be lower, so as to encourage export. But if you don't have what to export like Nigeria, then devalue your currency may not work for you as economic policy. All right? So the best option here is promote import. Why? You already have what? Excess exports. So you promote more import so as to come to a level of balance in your payments. So the most correct answer there is D, promote import into your country. By so doing, you pay more and added more technological advantage to the country. I hope you have enjoyed this class. If you have further questions, please send them on the comments. All right? And then I will advise that you visit this channel more and more often so as to get more of these videos and more enlightenment in your subject area. Thank you.